It's just to motivate some of you guys out there that might be sitting on the fence and wanting something better for yourself. You're just not quite sure how to make it happen. I was like just a mess physically, mentally. And I'm like, you got to make a change here, man. Like you have to actually do something different. If you want to live those dreams you have in your head, you've got to make a change. You picture yourself in a nursing home or you're really old and you're having that self-dialogue with yourself. It's only you sitting in a room with no one else in it. What kind of conversations do you want to have with yourself? Do you want to be sitting there being like, wow, like I'm glad I gave that property thing a go. Yeah, it didn't work, but like at least I did it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Smash Property Podcast. This week's episode, we're going to go through my story, my journey of how I basically started life and got myself into a position where I was able to leave a job that I didn't really love behind. I was able to build a $10 million property portfolio, have the lifestyle that I want, live in the location that I want, all really thanks to property investing. And I want to share this journey, which I haven't really gone into much detail with before on really any podcast. But the idea is that I want to show you where I actually started from, because if you knew my full journey of where I was to kind of where I am now, you would sort of see that it is possible, regardless of where you are in life, you can actually make something of yourself. If you are willing to take the risk, you're willing to take action, you can get there. You can make things happen for yourself. I see it so much online where there's just all this negativity about, cost of living, this and that. And don't get me wrong, it is expensive. I get it. But there's also a way to make it work for yourself as well. So I want to touch on that in this episode. And the idea is, it's just to motivate some of you guys out there that might be sitting on the fence and wanting something better for yourself. You're just not quite sure how to make it happen. We'll go through some of that in today's episode. So following up from the last podcast in the recent weeks where I explained about my how I sort of escaped the rat race and the corporate life, I want to sort of go back a little bit further because there's a big story before that of how I actually got into the position I am in today. And just winding it all the way back, my parents migrated to Australia in the late 80s from South Africa. They were, if you know South Africa at the time, it was going through, the apartheid regime, and it was just a hectic place to be. And like a lot of South Africans, they came to Australia and we settled in Campbelltown. And I was born in the late 80s. And lived a pretty cool, normal, I would call it like a middle class kind of life, right? Like I was able to go overseas at a very young age, went to a nice local school, had a nice, healthy, kind of normal sort of childhood for the most part. And there was never really any, financial sort of investing conversations. It was kind of just living. Which like many, families would have done in the 90s, right? The 90s, like a lot of people say these days, the 90s was like the golden era. And I feel very grateful to have, spent my childhood in the 90s. And it was just a cool time, right? We had times when money was a little bit tight. We also had times when money was not really much a problem. My parents split when I was, quite young. And so I kind of had two different sort of lifestyles from time to time. And it was cool. It was normal, right? I moved to, from Campbelltown in Sydney's southwest, moved from there to a little town in Victoria called Benalla in the early 2000s. In fact, it might have been the late 90s actually. And continued living down there. Country life was an awesome transition from the city and Campbelltown, and it was a great sort of time. As I sort of started to get a little bit older, started, discovering alcohol and drinking at a pretty early age. I think I was sort of maybe about 12. And that sort of like became, priority number one, really, parties and drinking and, so from that sort of age, 12, 13 onwards, alcohol really took a big part of my life and my social life. And at that age, you can, I don't know, a lot of you may not have been as stupid as I was at that age, but you can kind of bounce, you have your massive amounts of alcohol and you kind of bounce back the next day. You're absolutely fine. So, did that and it sort of was a bit of like a snowball effect. It was kind of like the drinking sort of led to being focused on that, and you're not really focused on school anymore. And then you kind of push the boundaries and get in trouble a little bit more and more. And eventually got suspended actually, but then politely asked to leave this school in Victoria. That got me sent back to my mum's place in Sydney, which was on the North Shore, which was again like completely different. Went to this school on the northern beaches, and the people were just like fucking way different than, you know, Victoria and the country. Victoria and the country, everyone's like friendly. You go to fucking North Shore and no one wants to know you. Anyway, I've ended up meeting up with a great bunch of guys up there who I'm still friends with to this day, and got in some more trouble there at school. You know, priority was just drinking, and then I started smoking and, you know, partying and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, then you get your license. Then I dropped out of school first term of year 12. I was like, fuck this. I want to go earn some money. Cause I was like, education. I was like, this is just dumb. I'm going there. I don't give a shit about algebra and fucking biology and that. Like, I don't care. I was like, I just want to go and earn money. Right. That's what makes sense to me. And so that's why I left. Whether it was or not a smart decision at the time, I don't know. I kind of don't regret it. And left school, dropped out. Again, just kept increasing the drinking and the smoking and the partying and all that sort of stuff. And actually, the amount of times I was suspended from that school in Sydney was unbelievable. I would get suspended for a week. I'd come back for a day or two. I'd do something dumb. I'd get suspended again. And it was just like this rinse and repeat for like fucking months and months and months. And it just became like it wasn't like a game at the end. It was like, how quickly can I get suspended? Not that I was actually actively thinking that, but it was kind of like a joke, right? Running joke going on. Anyway, so yeah, left that school, got out of that, bounced around in all sorts of jobs when I was in my late teens at the time. I was working at Macca's. So I dropped out of school to go and flip burgers at Macca's because I was working there already part-time whilst I was at school. Then left, asked to go full-time, was doing full-time. I was doing overnights. I was doing 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. at Castle Hill Macca's in Sydney. Did that for a long time, and I was earning some decent coin, right? Because you do that kind of late hours, you kind of get some penalty rates and whatnot. And I was like, fuck yeah, money. This is what I'm talking about. But then I'll just go and blow it on like a night out in the city. Because if you live in the Hills District, you'd know, or you live anywhere really outside of the CBD region, to get a cab, especially you're talking, 15 years ago, or whatever it was, maybe more now actually. To get a cab from like the Hills to the city or the Western Sydney to the city, you're talking like $100 even back then. This was before Uber even existed. And so anyway, like I'd be earning some decent coin for the time, but I'd just blow on some dumb shit anyway. I got arrested drink driving. I crashed my car whilst I was drink driving. I was speeding. I lost my license for like a year, got it back. I lost it again like 3 months later speeding, and I'd get it back and I'd lose it again. It was like the same thing with school, right? I'd getting suspended every other week. I'd come back, I'd get it, I'd lose it again. Same thing with my license. I'd get it, I'd do something dumb, I'd lose it again. And this happened like year after year for a long time. And I was just I went from Macca's to door knocking, selling Foxtel, to working in a Reader's Digest call center where it was like, you know, people, I don't know if you've seen those magazines where it's like, you won $10,000, call this number to claim it. They'd call the number and I'd be on the other end. There's no money that you've won. I've got to try and sell you some shit. The amount of abuse you'd get from that. What else did we do? I worked at a cafe. I swear there was some more. Oh, also, I filled potholes at Blacktown City Council, and all sorts of jobs. Worked at Woolies at the bottle shop. Worked at a different bottle shop as well, independent one, and just all sorts of stuff. Just trying to I was a background extra on Home and Away. I was in a couple of ads as well. There was like a TiVo ad and a few other things as well, like all sorts of stuff. Just trying to get it together, and it just like wasn't really. It just wasn't connecting. Like I was trying all these things, and to be fair and to give myself credit, I was putting in effort to try and make things work, applying for tons of jobs every week, and going to interviews, getting knocked back and working these weird hours because you're working in retail and all sorts of shit. It was just a rough time. And it was just like, fuck, man. I feel like I just wasn't getting anywhere. And it just caused me, because I was like, I knew I had something better, but at the same time, it was like, it wasn't working. I had this like self-destructive kind of energy in me, right? It was just like, I just had this like, you know, thing where I wouldn't care how much I would drink or smoke or I was just like, I just wanted to, I don't know how to explain it. It was real, just like this negative energy where I just wanted to, it was almost like I purposely wanted to self-destruct. And I would just do whatever I could to kind of just, fuck it up. Do you know what I mean? Not that I consciously wanted to fuck it up, but I just had this energy in me that, you know, from time to time, I just didn't care about consequences. And that went on for many, many years. And it was obviously, looking back now, not a very healthy place to be in, right? Like mentally. And it's so weird because I look back at those times now and I'm like, I was I'm still the same person. Like I'm still the same guy, but I just have maybe a different perspective on things. And I look at that now and I'm like, how the fuck did I go from being like that to now being who I am now? And it's like, if people that meet me now, they'd be like, oh, this fucking guy's boring as, like, I don't drink anymore. I don't smoke. I don't do any of that shit. And it's like funny now, people are like, oh, you don't drink. And I'm like, fucking hell, if only you know, man. Like, you know what I mean? I don't do any of that shit anymore. And so it was real, it's a real contrast. And I want to openly and honestly share all that stuff with you, because I'm like, it didn't have a good sort of, you know, beginning. And I'm like, if I can recover from that, and look, sure, there's plenty of people that would be way worse off. I get it, right? There's also people that will be plenty better off that still wouldn't, think that they have a good position, right? So it's all perspective. I get it. But I'm like, I had a shit ton of debt. I actually also I love doing track days. I had a personal loan on a BMW 325 E36 that I did track days with. It was also my daily driver. I crashed it at turn 1 at Eastern Creek. I might even have the footage here as well. So I might even just overlay that. But I had that accident, crashed the car, rode it off, and was in this position where I fucking didn't have a car. I had all this debt attached to the car that I didn't even have anymore. And so that was like even more, like I just had all of these like events just piling up that were just so just like I couldn't get anywhere. And I guess maybe you're asking the question like, why are you telling us this and how did you fucking turn it around? I'm telling you because, again, you might only see the content now where it's like I've got the properties and cars and live the lifestyle, a nice lifestyle and that sort of thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm by no means like fucking balling here and shit, right? Like I've got a ton of debt. I have to work. I have to make things work, but I'm doing what I love now. I'm doing what I'm passionate about, helping other people get out of the situations that I was in and helping them on the journey. So I have a passion now. I have a purpose where I didn't have that before. So that's why I'm telling you. How I did it was literally a look in the mirror moment and around my 24th, 5th birthday, and just be like, this was like literally looking in the mirror. I'm like, man, look at you. Like I was like just a mess physically, mentally. And I'm like, you got to make a change here, man. Like you have to actually do something different. If you want to live those dreams you have in your head, you've got to make a change. You've got to change something in your life. And I remember at the time I was like, all right, cool. Let me start by just looking after myself physically first. So I started eating a bit better, started going back to the gym, because when I was at school, I was quite fit. I was swimming 4 or 5 nights a week and I was really fit in school, left school, lost all of it. And then so started rebuilding that. And then my physical health started to improve, and then my mental health started to improve not long after that. And then you start to get this little wave of momentum and positivity with things. And then I'm like, okay, now I can focus more on my career. I'm more level-headed. All right, I can make better rational decisions with how I move forward. And it was just like week after week, month after month, slowly get better. I remember I did like video journals to myself at the time. And it wasn't to post it or anything online. It was just so I could just vent to a camera that only I would ever see. And I actually would love to even see it if I even have those somewhere. And just start to rebuild myself like bit by bit, which is something that is a skill that I think everyone needs to really master at some point. Is you're going to constantly rebuild yourself. And that doesn't mean you change as a person. Like fundamentally, you are who you are, but you might have to rebuild your habits. You might have to rebuild the way that your perspective. Those are the sorts of things that you when I'm talking about rebuilding yourself. And I've rebuilt myself many times over, right? So that was the how. Was it was a slow rebuild, a slow focus on my physical health. Then my mental health started to improve. Then I started focusing on my career. Then I started focusing on my finances. Then I started focusing on investing, and then repeat investing over and over. Continuously build my knowledge about investing. And it's just this like snowball effect that takes place. And yeah, sure, there's fuck ups along the way. There's loads of them. Like it's never not. But it's what I really like about myself. If I had to say something, was that when shit goes wrong, it's like, okay, what do I need to do now? Like, okay, what's next? How do I fix it? What needs to happen? Who do I need to speak to? What do I need to do? How do I make it better? What's got to happen? I very rarely, if ever, go into this like, fuck me, this is fucked, blah, blah, blah. Don't get me wrong, like I'll have an outburst, you know what I mean? Like I'll let it out, but I won't sort of dwell on it and stay in that space, because I feel like I've been there for many, many years. I don't want to fucking go back there. So I'm like, all right, cool. How do I move forward? And I really encourage you in your life to really approach things in that way. And yeah, that's sort of, I guess, where I was. A lot of you know where I am now, so I don't really need to go into that. You know, I spoke about my sort of corporate career in the last one of the last podcasts. So if you want to know how I went from the recovering into the building, you can go back and watch one of those episodes a week or so ago on how I exited the rat race. But I just want to leave you guys with this, and it's, I get life is hard. It's not meant to be easy. And in fact, it's probably as hard or as easy as you want to make it. If you're out there and you don't give a fuck about investing, and you don't care about any of that stuff, and you don't want to build your wealth, and you're just happy living, I love that. I genuinely love that, because that means that you're living in the moment, and that's fucking cool. And I kind of wish from time to time I had that ability to do that. So don't stress about, or don't even worry about investing or feel like you're behind. If you're happy living in the day-to-day and in the moments, man, do that. That's so, I actually envy that. If you're out there and you don't love your situation, or maybe you're kind of content, but you're like, I wish I want to have a little bit more. Man, like you and I are not going to be here in maybe a few decades from now, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how old you are, right? Ask yourself this question. When you get to, you picture yourself in a nursing home, or you're really old, and you're having that self-dialogue with yourself. It's only you sitting in a room with no one else in it. What kind of conversations do you want to have with yourself? Do you want to be sitting there being like, wow, like I'm glad I gave that property thing a go. Yeah, it didn't work, but like at least I did it. Do you know what I mean? Or yeah, I'm really glad I gave that property thing a go. Look what it's given me now. Like I've been able to help my family. I'm able to have the care that I have now. It's all thanks to property. Regardless of whether it goes well or doesn't go well, I guarantee you're going to be looking back being like, I'm glad I gave it a go. Because there's nothing worse, in my opinion, where you'd be sitting in that seat and being like, fuck, I had the chance. I could have done it. If only I had have done it. I would have had this, or I could have had that, or I could have helped this person, could have done that. Because I know for myself, I don't want to have that conversation. So what I'm saying is I'd rather have a conversation with myself of I tried it, it worked, or I tried it, it didn't work, than I could have tried it, and what if? So that's what I want to leave you guys with. I hope you got some value out of the episode. If you did, show me some love, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. I think like 80% of you are not subscribed to the channel, so I appreciate it. If you could, it doesn't cost you a cent. Give me some love. Let me know that you like what we're doing here. Content's coming out every single day on Smash Property, channels across YouTube, social media. We kind of cover all the bases. If you want a specific topic covered in a future video, just let me know in the comments. We'll get to it. We'll make it happen. If you want help on your property journey, you want to help going from 0 to 10 properties or whatever goal that you have in mind, this is what we specialize in as a real estate property investing buyers agency. We only do investment properties in the residential space. So if you want help, if you're on YouTube, there's a link in the description to take you directly to our calendars where you can book some time to have a chat. It doesn't cost you anything. We're not going to try and sell you any bullshit. If we can't help you, we will tell you we cannot help you. If you got this far in the video, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I appreciate it. Until next time, I'm Nick V. We'll catch you soon.